Hey everybody. My name is Lirut, and I am one of Yoni's many friends. Yoni's magic, one way or another, has touched all of us here. His death was sudden. He was too young, but as it slowly occurred to me, I realized that although young, he lived his life wonderfully. At many memorial services, positive traits are exaggerated, while the negative ones are swept under the rug. However, today, it is unnecessary to change the truth. With Yoni, what you saw was what you got. He refused to play games with people, and he was always attuned to people's feelings. Yoni had a gift, and I think that in his young life, he managed to touch more lives than people living to be 100. We, your family, friends, loved ones, and classmates, are here today to reminisce, to cherish, to laugh, to cry, and to remember you, Yoni Lurie. I would like to invite Chaim Moskowitz to the stage to read a chapter from Kohelet.
לכל זמן ועת, לכל חפץ תחת השמיים. עת ללדת ועת למות. עת לטעת ועת לעקור נטוע. עת להרוג ועת לרפוא. עת לפרוץ ועת לבנות. עת לבכות ועת לשחוק. עת ספוד ועת רקוד. עת להשליך אבנים ועת כנוס אבנים, עת לחבוק ועת לרחוק מחבק, עת לבקש ועת לאבד, עת לשמור ועת להשליך, עת לקרוע ועת לתפור, עת לחשות ועת לדבר, עת לאהוב ועת לשנוא, עת מלחמה ועת שלום. לכל זמן ועת, לכל חפץ תחת השמיים.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surround you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. May you stay forever young. Forever May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of change shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. And may you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you
I would like to invite Dr. Noam Lemel-Streich-Latar, founder and dean of the Sami Ofer School of Communications, to say a few words.
Staff, Marsha, Lloyd, Yafa, Sky, and then Yafa is not here. I stand here as the dean, but with me all the school teachers are here in respect of Yoni and in your respect. I will never forget the phone call the night I received. The two of our students have drowned. I rushed with Professor Weichmann to the hospital, and I met the two of you, Marsha and Lloyd, and I met Wendy, who was a very inspiring person for us that night. And it was really horrible to meet both of you. From there we rushed to meet the parents of Chaim Moskowitz in Bellinson Hospital, who was at the time also was not conscious. And we were hoping at least that one will survive, and I was very moved to see Chaim here tonight reading the head. It's very tough. We had Yoni with us for 1 year, but he left a remarkable mark on us. He was involved with the radio, with the television, with the New Innovation Lab. You could see him everywhere. His teachers spoke very highly of him, considered him as a very promising, talented person. And we all had high hopes for him, to at least benefit from him during the time he will be with us. But Almighty decided differently. They always say that he wanted the best to be near him. And so we lost Yoni. But I can tell you that he left a mark on his teachers, on his students, his friends. He was involved, as I said, in a lot of our projects. And from what I've learned, I've since then learned a lot about Yoni. He was described by his friends as a silent leader. He irradiated leadership. He's the type of person that doesn't have to be vocal, doesn't have to shout to be present. He was there, he was a leader, he was a silent leader. He had compassion to his friends, and he also possessed a quality very rare among Israelis, which we call firgun. He knew how to give credit to others. He knew how to appreciate others, and this is what made him a silent leader. And his friends too described him as a silent leader. There's one quote that one of his friends said that I want to read to you, which I think is the best one can say about a person. He enlightened every situation, even the most difficult, with refreshing humor. To say about someone that he enlightened other people, I think this is, in my opinion, really the best you can say about a person. Then wherever he walks, there is light around him. And that was Yoni. Well, I can tell you his loss was a great loss for all of us. This is an evening in his commemoration, but I want you to know that this is a very strong bond between you and us forever. We always remember Yoni, and you're part of our family, and I want you to know that. And please tell Yafa, the same Yafa is in America, please convey my words to Yafa as well. You're always part of our school. And I want to say a few words. I was warned by Rafi not to say it, but this evening was prepared over a long period of time by a group of Yoni's friends and by a few of his teachers, by Ilana, by Rafi, by Chagai, who for a long time met every week and prepared this evening with all of their hearts and enthusiasm. And this is really a tribute to Yoni. It was Yoni who made this possible. So I want to thank this devoted young group of students and Rafi and Ilana and Chagai for making this very special evening possible. It's very tough for me to be here to talk to you, but thank you for at least having Yoni with us for a year, and his memory will always be with us. And please consider us as part of your extended family.
I would like to invite Mr. Jonathan Davis, Vice President of Foreign Affairs and the head of the Rafael Recanati International School.
When Yoni, Zichrono Livracha, applied to the Sami Ofer School of Communications at the Rafael Recanati International School Trek, his former high school principal, Dr. Menachem Gottesman, wrote in the letter of recommendation that due to his level of maturity, he displays great sensitivity and caring for his fellow man and is both personable and presentable. In the application forms for IDC Herzliya, we usually ask our applicants to write a brief essay about something that happened to them over the previous years. And Yoni wrote about an IDF experience which took place on the Egyptian-Israeli border, which he titled "All Quiet on the Western Front," with a question mark after that. And Yoni wrote in his essay, "My unit was stationed along the peaceful Egyptian border. While this is a relatively quiet area, we were kept busy with the almost nightly attempted crossings into Israel by refugees from Sudan, Eritrea, and the surrounding areas. When an infiltration was detected, IDF protocol was to locate and bring in all infiltrators to provide medical attention and to record their infiltration. However, our commands also stated that it was not our responsibility to assist African refugees during their flight into Israel, since the state frankly did not relish more illegal immigrants than it already had. One night, the touch-sensitive fence alerted us to movement in a specific area along the border. Upon responding, we saw the not uncommon sight of an African refugee, wounded and bleeding badly atop the fence, struggling to make his way over the barbed wire. Seeing that he was in danger, my commander, comrade, and myself rushed towards him and began a life and death tug of war, the Egyptian guards using the man's arms and legs. Only the fence separated us from the Egyptian guards, who angrily shouted at us in Arabic. We yelled back in English, hoping they would understand so we could save the man and peacefully solve the conflict. When an Egyptian guard, just inches away, pointed and cocked his gun at me, the effort was ordered aborted. I did not want to let go, but I also didn't want to get shot and killed. So I let go, and so did the others. In the end, at least 25 of us stood there helplessly, listening as an innocent man was dragged away, screaming, being brutally kicked and beaten by the guards' rifle butts. Only death silenced his dreams. According to protocol, nothing went wrong, and our performance was completely acceptable by IDF standards. I don't know what the current policy is regarding the African refugees, but I can say that I am proud to have followed the one I did. And this courage displayed by Yoni and the care for his fellow men is basically the kind of student we like to see study at IDC Herzliya. And Yoni was duly accepted to the School of Communications. And once more, Yoni displayed compassion and care for others on that difficult Egyptian border. It is these characteristics which made him popular with his classmates, and he was sought after for friendship and advice. And Yoni found his place here, just as Noam so eloquently described before, regarding all of those wonderful and very unique characteristics. Marsha, Lloyd, Sky, dear professors, so many of the professors from the School of Communications are here, and the staff of the Rafael Recanati International School and other staff from IDC Herzliya. It's really my hope that Yoni's looking down on us right now and seeing a completely filled Chase auditorium. Yoni, in your honor, because you were a very, very, very special person. We've lost a true member of our family here at IDC Herzliya, and especially in the School of Communications. The State of Israel has lost a solid citizen, Melech HaAretz, salt of the earth. Yehi Zichro Baruch.
Today I'm sitting with a panel of Yoni's closest friends. Clemence was Yoni's bestest friend at IDC.
Hi. So, Yoni was my best friend. As most of people here must know, we were in the same class and we were always together. When we were not together, then we were on the phone together. He's the first person that I met at IDC. I remember this day like if it was yesterday. He was sitting in the class like this. And he was wearing this red shirt. The place was free next to him, and I just asked him if I could sit. And since then we became inseparable. We went to orientation trip together, we sat on the bus together, and we talked without any break about all the subjects in the world. It was like we always knew each other. Yoni was much more than a simple friend to me. He was a real confidant. And now he is gone. I had the opportunity to get close to his wonderful family. And now everything makes sense to me. He was smart like Marsha. He had such a big heart like Lloyd. And he was smiling and shy like Sky, that here, his young sister, that I love. She became a real sister to me. And had those so beautiful blue eyes like Sister Yafa in the States right now. When I see his parents, it gives me the feeling that a part of Yoni is still here, and for that I really want to thank them. To thank them to let me get into their life and to see them whenever I want. I want to make them the promise here now in front of everybody that I will always be here for you. I miss Yoni every day. Sometimes I think that I see him in the street and I just realized that I'm mistaken, that I just saw someone wearing the same shirt or whatever. Since he passed away, there is no day that goes by that I don't think of him. I have to admit that I was hesitating whether to talk or not today. What made my decision is that I noticed that I never understood that you're gone, Yoni. I still live with the hope to see you in the class, in the street, in your house. I still dream about you. Those dreams are amazing. You're talking to me, smiling at me like you used to. When I wake up, it's much more harder. The reality hurts me so much. If I'm speaking tonight, it's because I don't have any choice. I have to face the reality. I have to understand that you're gone and stop lying to myself. But I still live with the hope that one day I'll see you again. I will never forget you. You will always stay in my heart. Stay the best friend that I ever had. And now it's time to say it. Goodbye, Yoni.
Thank you, Clemence. And now we have Eyal, Yoni's counselor.
The first time that I met Yoni, actually, was through a list that as a counselor, you get a list of the students that you're going to be in your group. So what I did is I added the names on my Facebook. And when I added, what vivid memory that I have is when I added Yoni's Facebook, when I first saw him, actually, his picture. He had a really big afro. And I said to myself, this will be a really interesting person to meet. And we spoke a little bit, and then I got to meet him in orientation week. He already cut his hair. I didn't recognize him at first. First at the beginning of the week, it was really hectic. We spoke a little bit. I found out that we have much in common. He was a really charming guy, really hit it off. I remember that in the orientation trip, before we went onto the buses, I wanted Yoni to be on my bus, because I know that I wanted a person that I know that got along with, I wanted to be with me. So I saw him standing with Clemence, and I thought to myself, I wanted to persuade them to come. So I told them, Clemence, Yoni, hope you're coming to the orange bus, my bus, it's the cool bus. And eventually they did come, and something really important about that trip, actually, I got to spend a little bit of time with Clemence and Yoni, and something that I do remember is that at the end of that week, Yoni, me and Clemence, we swam in the Dead Sea. We had a conversation for a couple of hours, and I was still really not insecure with myself about how I was in that week, if I was okay, and Yoni really gave me words, told me that I was really, he told me that I was good, he told me that I shouldn't be insecure with myself. He gave me really good words about how I was that week, and it made me feel really good with myself. And that's something that's really important. It was important for me. And the upcoming weeks, I remember that as a counselor, you get to meet students for personal conversation. Something that you do with all the students. But for me, to get to meet Yoni, it wasn't something that I had to do. It was to meet a friend, because I remember we met, I called him, okay, so let's meet, no problem. And we met at the cafeteria, we ate, we spoke for an hour and a half, it was, okay, so we share so much in common, we're both Americans, we have American background, we served in the same corps in the army. He served in a little bit more elite unit, so he laughed a little bit about me. He was in a missile unit, I was in a rocket unit. And he was just meeting, exactly like for me to meet a friend, to be with a friend. And what I remember is I consulted with him even about my girlfriend. We're really open with each other. Something that was much more than being just, it wasn't a counselor-student relationship. And just for me, even just to see him even each time on the campus, always smiling, always making me feel good. And last story that I also think that describes a little bit better is that Yoni invited me to his house a couple of times. And back then I lived still with my parents. And when I came to his house and I saw the atmosphere and the humor and the good spirit in that house, I thought to myself secretly in my heart that in this house, with this kind of person, with Yoni, this is something that I would myself want to live in. And that's what he was for me, a friend, someone who was always happy and always made me feel good with myself, and someone who I would wanted to live with.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Eyal.
Hi, I can introduce myself. My name is Moshe Lewis, and Yoni was my best friend. I met him about, 3 weeks maybe after him and his family made Aliyah to Israel, and he was my 7th grade classmate. That's how we met. We connected pretty quickly. He did not speak a word of Hebrew, which narrowed it down for me to be a good friend because I spoke English as opposed to a lot of our class. And we were in the English-speaking class together. I don't know how many of you really know Yoni that well, or how many of you met him or spent any time with him. But I just want you to know that the way I see it, when I met him at age 12 and I look back at it, it was really like a miniature version of what everybody got to see at age 24. He was a little bit more shy back then, yes, but he did not speak the language, so clearly that was a part of it. His sense of humor when I met him at age 12 was pretty close to the same he had at age 24. It was great, and just such a great 12-year-old kid to befriend and share so many memories with. I think I'll share a couple just to give you an idea of, the day in our lives when we were really young and we just met. Well, basically when the Luries moved to Israel, they lived in a couple places in Jerusalem, but either way we're always a few minutes by foot from each other's houses, so we'd walk home together after school many times. And back then we were 12. We didn't really have any worries, we weren't worried about school, that's for sure. No work, no girlfriend, none of that, stuff that kind of sidetracks you at all. Really no worries. We'd walk home and honestly, and it's kind of funny, but our main concern walking home was how much and what kind of candy we were going to buy at the Makolet on our way home, because we could do the thing where you do the Lir Shom and you just put it on your parents' tab and get whatever you want. And just, that kind of memory is something that is really early on, and it's just a really strong memory I have with Yoni. Just carefree, and all we're worrying about is what we're going to eat at the Makola when we get there. When I was entering, I believe, 10th grade, a great thing happened. Yoni's family decided to move into my building and to the apartment downstairs. So I don't know how many people here get to enjoy their best friend as much as I did, but living downstairs is basically living in the same house. We could have breakfast together, dinner together, we go up and down. And I hope you've all met his great family, so they really welcomed me into their house, and it was fantastic. If there's one thing that I want to share with you that I really take away from my relationship with Yoni throughout the years is something that I think I've gotten better at and I've learned from him, and I've definitely expressed this before to others, there's an expression in English, don't sweat the small stuff, and he takes that to a whole new level because, there's so many things that go on in our lives, and we can decide to get stressed out or worry or frantic or panic, but but it's not worth it, you know. It's you can enjoy life so much more if you just don't sweat these small stuff. And that's how Yoni operated, and it really rubbed off, you know. It's such an amazing quality to have when I met him at 12 and just progressed till age 24. I also really want to, well, I don't really know IDC and most of the students here, but the last year that we talk all the time, I just want to thank all the students and the school and the teachers and just the atmosphere that you created for Yoni, because he was truly happy, and I'm really, really thankful to all of you for allowing him to have such a wonderful 9 months before his passing. It really means a lot to me, and you should all feel really good about yourselves and what you're doing here, and I'm glad that I could have been here. And let Amir speak.
My name is Amir. I was Yoni's friend from the army. I was asked to say a few things about Yoni from this period. So I asked my dear crew members to send me stories from then. And they sent me many stories. And as you can imagine, all of them were strongly connected. So it reminded me a popular song in Hebrew, or the singer in it kept asking, when in the last time have you done anything for someone? I believe this sentence defines Yoni perfectly. If someone were to ask Yoni that same question from the song, I'm sure his modesty would cause a hesitant silence. But the answer would be obvious. Clearly, we all know that there are very few people who are capable of answering this the way he could. I believe that Yoni was trying to pass through him an important unwritten message during his way of life. I interpret this message in a certain way of seeing the world not as being sad and depressing, but as an incredible and wonderful place that should be appreciated and enjoyed to the fullest at every moment. And the great thing is that it's up to us to make it feel that way. Although Yoni Lurie was a hero and nothing less than a knight is gone, his legacy lives and will pass on through us. The people who were touched by Yoni, if each one of us will more often seek and see ways he or she can assist and help others unconditionally, this is a great way to live and pass on Yoni's remarkable legacy. I think each one of us should occasionally adopt and promote Yoni Lurie's ideas and behaviors. Because the fact is that as more people imitate and truly adopt Yoni's belief and ideology, we will not only create a much greater and enjoyable environment to live in, but I believe that someday you will be able actually to see, even for an instant, Yoni lifting up his eyebrow and smiling at you.
Thank you, Clemence, Eyal, Moshe, and Amir for sharing your stories today with us.
It was really hard not to notice a guy like him who's really handsome, blue eyes, dark hair, just always smiling, always nice to everyone.
At the orientation week, I asked him if I can sit close to him, and he said only one word. He said, "Sure." It was the first day I saw him. I miss his fake French accent.
As a matter of fact, I have the iPhone 4. If you do not have one and you have BlackBerry, I can buy you a new iPhone 4 so that we can keep in contact all day long. And I can call you, invite you to dinner, you can dine with fine wine, whatever you like.
He was like a brother to me, and I love Yoni as a friend, and I will continue to love him as he does affect me and impact my life today.
I guess if I could sum up his personality in one word, it would be caring. I knew him for 8 months, but he was one of the best friends I ever had.
אני נזכר בך כל פעם שעובר לידי בקבוק בירה, או שאני צריך לפתוח בקבוק בירה, ואז יש את זה שהיית עושה.
And wherever he went in life, he would make a great addition to what he was doing.
Putting everyone in a good mood constantly.
Yoni, I say he was one of the funniest kids I ever met in my life.
I don't actually think that most people today know what AT&T stands for. That it is actually American Telegraph and Telephone. I don't think most people even know what a telegraph is. Is it some kind of internet device, or is it an iPhone?
And he was also one of the kids with the biggest hearts.
You're an amazing friend. And there's not a single day where I don't think about you and wish you would come back to us.
The last few
times I saw him are very clear in my memory, and he was just really happy. You know, he was. That's it.
זה הקיץ האחרון שלי איתכם, עם הגשם הראשון אני אעלם. דמעותיי יזרמו במורד הרחובות, כמו לנושר ותקוות רחוקות. אני איש של חורף בין אלפי אנשי ים, אך בחורף הזה כבר לא אהיה קיים. לאט לאט השכבות נמסות, בין רוצים לא רוצים ותפילות אחרונות. תזכרו שהבטחתם לא לבכות, כי השמיים גדולים והאדמות קטנות. תעצמו את העיניים כל גשם ראשון, תחשבו עליי. במדינות מעבר לים, לדעת אם יש צורות חיים אחרות, ואם המתים ממשיכים לחיות. כי זה הקיץ האחרון שלי איתכם, עם הגשם הראשון אני אעלם. לאט לאט השכבות נמסות, בין רוצים לא רוצים ותפילות אחרונות. תזכרו שהבטחתם לא לבכות, כי השמיים גדולים והאדמות קטנות. תעצמו את העיניים כל גשם ראשון, תחשבו עליי.
I would like to invite Yoni's mother, Marcia Lurie, to the stage.
Yesterday night on Facebook, Paul Ahat wrote something that I noticed late in the evening while I was up trying to figure out what I was going to say here this evening. He wrote, "Give us the strength to keep it together and make you proud tomorrow," meaning Yoni. I hope I can do that too. I'm not sure I'm going to. No mother ever dreams of preparing a speech like this, and quite frankly, I didn't really. Kip wrote me an email. Kip Adler wrote me an email recently, and he wrote, "I hope this memorial honors Yoni's memory, reminds those of us who knew him of his influence and importance in our lives, and lets those who didn't know him see what a special person he was to so many of us." And I think Kip and all of you who worked so beautifully to make this evening such a wonderful tribute to our dear Yoni. I think you did such I have no words to say what wonderful job that you all did here tonight, expressing yourselves. As a mother, you know your child in a certain kind of way. You know his moments, you know the first time he takes a step, and you know his first Siddur presentation, and you know when he gets his braces off, and you know what you baked him for his birthday, and all of those things, and you know what kind of grades he got, and you know what a great hugger he is, and you know him in certain kinds of intimate ways as a parent. But I gotta tell you something. You don't really know your child until you hear what other people tell you about him. You really don't know. And over these past 7 months, starting from the moment of the funeral, when all the Hespedim were recited, and we heard such things with all those common threads about what he was like, I started to learn what my Yoni was really like. You just don't know. I knew he was special, and I knew he was pretty good looking. And I knew he was a good hugger. And I knew he was a sweetheart. And I'll tell you what the naughtiest thing he ever did. One day, he must have been about, 6, 7, 8 years old. I really don't know exactly when. Something got him really ticked off, and I don't even remember what it was. He went up to his room. Instead of doing what maybe a typical kid would do, like putting his fist through the wall or breaking a window or opening a pillow and letting the feathers fly all over the place, what did Yoni do? He opened his drawers and he started pulling the clothes out and just letting them hang out a little bit. That's all he did. He didn't even make a real mess. He was even a sweetheart when he was mad. I want to thank everybody in this room, really. Whether I got to know you personally during the last several months, or whether I wouldn't even recognize you when we walked outside when we were finished. But I know you're here because Yoni touched you in some way. So that means indirectly you've touched me too. I want you to know how grateful I am, and I think I can speak for my husband and my daughters, but how grateful I am in all the love and affection and caring that have been shown to us by so many of you in so many ways that I'm paying attention to. You may not know it, but I know what's going on out there. I read comments, I hear things, and I know, and it's all, I guess it's all part of showing how he's each living on in each of us in a different way. He's affected each of us in his own special way, but all because of all those same personality traits that have been mentioned here tonight. I don't need to repeat them. Just a few more things I'd like to say. Somebody wrote, "I still can't believe you're really gone. I pretend you are away on a very long vacation, having the best time ever." That's exactly what he's doing. Just like he did in life. He's still having a good time. I just want to also thank Dean Lemonstrach Latar for yours and your faculty's support all through this period, especially at the beginning when we needed it the most. And for making this program, making this happen. It's truly been a tribute to Yoni's life and something that our family will treasure. Not only the evening now, this last hour of memories, but we'll be able to look at it later, I know. And for those of our family and friends who were not able to be here tonight, we know we'll be able to let them see it on the internet. To Mr. Jonathan Davis for your kind remarks tonight and reminding us about Yoni's Army experience that I don't know if he said it in that essay, but that evening on the border there was the most traumatic experience of his Army years. He had been in the Lebanon War, but that wasn't the thing that traumatized him the most. He had nightmares about that one event for about 3 weeks, he said. I also want to acknowledge Miss Wendy Keter, who was the director of the Raphael Recanati International School here at IDC until last year, till the end of the year. Wendy not only was there to deliver the bad news to us that evening, Wendy insisted, and she knew that she had to insist because we thought we could handle it ourselves. Wendy insisted on meeting us the next day down in the southern part of Tel Aviv where we needed to go to identify Yoni's body. And we didn't know that that was the same place we were also making funeral arrangements. And we needed her there more than we ever knew. So thank you, Wendy, again. We've thanked you before, but I also want to mention that there are two very special people sitting here tonight whose names I won't mention because, like our dear Yoni, they are also modest and don't want to be recognized. One, most of you don't know about this. One was a man who was walking along the street on the night Yoni died with his daughter, with his 6-year-old daughter, and he looked down. He was looking at the condition of the water, and he saw that there were some people in the water in danger. And he realized that they were going to need help immediately. He noticed that there was another man who was about to go into the water with his surfboard, who was walking on the beach already. So he called that man who he knew, a friend of his. He called him by name. He yelled down and told him, go out and help. There are people out there that need your help. Go see what's going on. And then he called emergency services and got ambulances over because he asked for 2 ambulances, not even 1, because he knew there was trouble with the stormy waters. And then he also had the cell phone number of a lifeguard at the Sharon Beach, just north of where Yoni died, and he called that lifeguard over to see if he could help because he was still there even though he was off duty. The other man that sent into the water was the man who risked his life and pulled Yoni's body out. After several tries, with waves hitting the 2 of them, he had put Yoni's body onto his surfboard, and waves kept hitting them and knocking them over and knocking Yoni's body down into the whirlpool. He swam down, searching for him in the murky waters, found him, brought him back up, and the same thing happened again. He did it a few times and realized he better change course and do it a different way. He brought him out without his surfboard, and we were very grateful to him for bringing Yoni back so that we could have an immediate funeral. We could have the closure that every family needs. This man sitting here is our hero. I'd just like to name a few names. I know that there were many people involved in putting together this program tonight, and I heard from some good sources that the committee grew and grew over the last few months as people wanted to get on board and celebrate Yoni's life in whatever talent they could bring to this evening. But I know that the initial committee was composed of Lerut Naveh and Kip Adler, and Clemence Haddad and Maya Tal, under the guidance of Ilana Braunfeld, the Dean's Assistant, and I know that the video and the whole program was also guided by Rafi Miller and Chagai Agnestoff, faculty members here. We're grateful to everybody, and I also just want to acknowledge all the other people that I can't name, but you all contributed such beautiful things this evening to the panel tonight, for all their memories of Yoni. We are truly comforted by the support that all of you give us. All of you. Yoni's Army buddies, our neighbors and dear friends, Yoni's best friends from his past, Yoni's best friends from his present and future, all Yoni's good friends here in the school. We thank you from the bottom of our hearts, from all of us in our family. That's it. Thank you.
If life is just a blank slate, what matters most is what you write on it. And Yoni wrote a beautiful story. He wrote smiles. Sometimes, when our own light goes out, a spark from another person rekindles it. We need to remember with deep gratitude those who have lit the flame within us and cherish them. Remembering Yoni in the way that he treated life and keeping him alive within us. This brings us to an end of the memorial. Please remember to write down any warm thoughts or memories and place them in the box on the table outside the hall. Goodbye.
How would you describe Yoni in like a sentence or a few words?
Really, really kind to everyone. Even if he wouldn't know you, he would still give you a big smile and help you out with anything that you can.
And do you have any memory of him?
Yeah, I think he made me one compliment that made me so happy, I remember. And he told me, he looked at me once and he said, "You're a mamma italiana," and I was like, why? Why are you telling me this? And he's like, because I see you one day with a big family and cooking and laughing with everyone. And when he told me this, it was like the best compliment that someone could ever give me. And I really, really smiled at him and I was so happy.
Yoni was always caring. At least, especially from the stories I've heard, he cared about everyone, and always smiling. Actually, the first time when I met him in the beginning, I found him almost intimidating with like a big beard, and I was like, this is gonna be the guy that gets all the girls.
Well, I think like the best that everyone is using is like this word that everyone is using for him is just so true. He was like an angel. I know it sounds cheesy, but he was like an angel. He would like go somewhere, and he would be like, "Oh, it's so nice to like see you here." He was just like so nice to everyone.
Whenever I see, like, I'm going to school, the direction of school, like, I used to drop him off sometimes at his house across the street, and so every time I see a guy walking in a striped shirt, it always reminds me of Yoni. I get the chills because I know that it's not him. But
I just miss him helping me with schoolwork.
Yeah.
He will always make me like calm down, especially now before finals.
How would you describe him?
Happy,
Definitely, always smiling.
relaxed, always have the answer.
Yeah. Statistics. That's how I got through statistics.
That's how I got through first year. Most of it, anyways.
Caring, smart, loyal as hell. You know that he was the kind of person that whenever you were in trouble, no matter what, even if you weren't, he was always there for you. That was kind of a good friend Yoni was.
Yoni's an amazing guy. He was a very loyal friend, a very thoughtful friend, and he cared for everyone. He did.
Yoni was a warm-hearted kid. He was a guy who you could always rely on. And if you had any problem, he always was there for you. I'm serious, like to anyone. Even people who just said hi to him, not even had a long conversation ever. And he was just a really good kid. Well, I used to go some weekends to his house playing some cards, and we had real fun. He was a great helper also, and a great talker. He could solve things very naturally and in a kind way.
Yoni was, I knew him in passing up until a month before he passed, and even before I formally knew him, I always, he was so cordial. He never miss a chance to help somebody or say hi to you. And then when I actually started knowing him, you realize he's kind of like a central figure, kind of a glue for everyone he meets, because everyone's just automatically drawn to him. And you can just feel, when someone's gone, there's a void, and his void is massive. And it speaks a lot to the kind of person that he was, and the amount of love that he had to give and still had to give. And that's the real shame. And I'm grateful for the amount of time I did get to meet him and know him, and sad of what could have been a friendship with him and amazing things he could have done. I remember the first time I actually got to spend some time with him studying for one of our first exams this summer, and we had this teacher for history of communication, Avital Pilpa, and he did an amazing impression of him. And he was a funny guy, he was super serious about so many things, but even when it comes to stuff like that, he was just the goofiest guy ever. And so it struck me, because from afar, not knowing him, he seems very stern and polite and about his business. So to see that side of him, it always struck me as wow, this guy's goofy. It was funny because he kept doing the impression over and over and over again, wanting me to hear it, and it cracked me up that he was so into it. Yeah, he's a sweet guy, lovable guy. Really didn't take very long to know him to understand that, and I think everyone would agree with me.